in this TAW Open quarterfinal match. Whoever moves on from this will be going to the semis and into pretty much the money. We got two top-tier Terran players. We got Abbaddon, the Grandmaster European. We got Semper, the Grandmaster Terran player from Team Root. I'm surprised he doesn't have that tag on right now. But, and we're going to be getting started with Ruins of Endian. The maps will be Ruins, Dust Towers, and then Frost, if we get that far. But let's get started. All right. In the bottom left-hand corner of Ruins of Endian, the Terran player, we've seen him pretty much all throughout his games today. Pretty much, actually, I think every single game has involved him, even the game against me. It's going to be from Team Gravity in the blue, Abbaddon. His opponent in the bottom right-hand corner, opposite, we have in the purple, the top Grandmaster North American Terran player from Team Root. It's going to be Semper. All right, so we already see a little bit of a split. Let's talk about TVT for a second, then we're going to talk about the builds. But TVT kind of boils down to, does either player want to try to expand early on and is automatically on the defensive? It's pretty rare when both decide to be just basic and sit back and defend without at least making so much as a Reaper. But usually have a split of one player playing very aggressive. Spoiler alert, it's probably going to be Semper in this match, at least so far. And then another player kind of forced to play a little bit more defensive. Sometimes you get in a weird situation where there's a push at the front, and then maybe you go for a Banshee as a counterattack, something like that. We'll have to see if this happens in this match, as Semper has opted for double gas early. He does have a depot at the wall, but he doesn't have a full wall to deny the scouting, so Abbaddon is going to get that information. Now we see Abbaddon going for the more conservative opener, at least when it comes to economy. He's going to be getting just a single gas. He got the barracks before the gas, which means he has less gas in total. But he is going to have the scout on what Semper is doing, and that's incredibly important for him to make his decision. He knows that Semper is going to have access to his factory, to his starport, and to all the stronger units out of those buildings much quicker than him. The only advantage right now that Abbaddon has is time and his high ground. If he can hold the high ground and build up enough economy to eventually overwhelm Semper or counterattack in the right way at the right time, he's going to be in a good spot. But if Semper is able to find a weakness, and when you have Reapers, and when you have Hellions, and when you have Banshees and tanks, it's pretty easy to find a weakness, then he could capitalize on that and end up winning the game right off the bat. This is not necessarily going to end on one base. I mean, for either player. Semper does not have to stay on one base. There's a very realistic possibility that Semper does some damage. He kills 4 or 5 SCVs, he forces out a certain response, and then expands himself, and that's fine too. I would love to see that. But there's also a possibility that Semper can get up here and do enough damage to end the game almost before it even starts. He's got Hellions on the way. He's continuing to pump out Reapers. Abbaddon has opted for Marines behind his first Reaper. He wanted to get that factory and his second gas as quickly as possible. That's very important to be able to match the tech of your opponent, and beautifully timed SCV going to be coming in here. The depot is down. If Semper does not raise this depot in time, no, he does. That reaction time is beautiful. Now he's not going to get information. He forces Abbaddon to scan. Now that is over 200 minerals that could have been used. If that SCV gets in, he doesn't have to scan. He can drop a mule. Well, we see at the front that the grenade's going to slam into the face of Semper's Reaper, and another Reaper's going to go down. And the Hellion's trying to come up, and Semper's getting really greedy so far. And that is not what he wanted. All right, Semper has to change direction immediately, and he does. He has already turned 360 degrees and walked away into a command center. He knows that was not enough. He didn't really... Did he kill anything? No, he killed 0 things. That is literally the least amount of things he could have killed. That was very greedy. Abbaddon in the perfect positioning to deal exactly with that. And there's actually no units at home to deal with this Reaper. He could actually delay the command center as well. So Abbaddon is... There is no two ways about it. He's in a lead. He's winning right now. It's not even close to over, but he has the edge, and Semper is going to have to bring it back a long ways in order to be even again. He's going to pick up even an SCV kill. The player who went for the command center before is actually going to do more damage. So now this is a climb. The climb begins for Semper, as right now he's down 4 SCVs. He's down 1 expansion plus orbital. He's down not really much in army supply because he has the infrastructure up already. And in production, he is slightly ahead. So that is his advantage here, I would say. Oh, we had a Liberator versus Liberator fight. Well, that is an interesting spread here, as both players now going for the Viking behind. Neither player going to be able to get damage done. There's a chance if they followed up with a Banshee or a Medevac, then the Liberator gets in and can actually siege up the mineral line. But neither player allowing their opponent that chance. Yeah, we see the expansion on the way. Some Hellions and Reapers out. He might be able to target down. He'll get one SCV, and that will be it. And not the depot. Loses a couple more. Semper's grasping at straws here. Ooh. Okay, all right. The Liberator actually in a nice spot. Abbaddon not really expecting this. He's going to pick off some Marines. They drop in. This is a bit ambitious. So will this Liberator make it home? This is I've actually really never seen like a Liberator just chasing another Liberator like this. This is kind of weird. And it looks like he's going to give up on the other one and just go for the Medevac, which he also won't kill. Liberator's not known for their single target air damage. Let's put it that way. So, all right, Abbaddon. He's looking at 30 to 31 SCVs. The production timing for Abbaddon is about even with Semper, but here's the kicker. Third command center. This is a big deal in TVT. The third command center really does determine how the game plays out, because what we're going to see right now is Abbaddon, he has no obligation to get aggressive. All he has to do is make sure that Semper is not able to get into a critical position. Semper has everything he has minus the command center, and that is a huge deal. And we actually see a Liberator coming in on this side as well. Gonna deny some mining, and this is a weird spot with a hurt Liberator versus an unhurt Liberator. And actually Semper gonna be able to pick off the Liberator. Ah! No freedom for you. It looks like there's a scan of Semper's main. He sees no third command center, but he doesn't know for a fact there's no third. There could be a third command center up here. There isn't, but he doesn't know that. StarCraft is a game of limited information. You don't know what pieces your opponent has or how he's moving them all the time. And that's part of the beauty of it, and how you can see comebacks like Semper is trying to mount here. But so far, we see Abbaddon playing just as defensive as he has the right to be so far. Yeah, we got 2 tanks in the main. We got Vikings here. The only real threat to Abbaddon, and he acknowledges this, is a big drop or something that catches him in a bad spot. And that's not going to happen. At least not yet. This is exactly what Abbaddon is somewhat prepared to defend. I did not expect it to be this dramatic. He scans. He sees both tanks. He has all the critical information. He does not see the Vikings. We see this coming in, but there are actually more Vikings on the other side. The tank drop on the other... Well, this is actually a great drop so far. I love the try for air control. The tanks are coming in. The Liberator will be taken down, but some of the Marines will go down with it. Some of the Vikings will probably fall on the other side. It looks like one Viking might be able to pick off all 3. The tanks on the other side. Semper is actually able to close that supply gap a lot more than you might have expected. 2 tech labs exposed. This is a massive deal. Losing your stim timing, losing your combat shields timing, that is what Semper needed. This is incredibly good for him right now. This double drop with the Vikings, Semper striking exactly where he needed to. Almost anything else would not have worked. You go for Marines, it's not going to work. There are tanks. You go for more Medevacs, it's not going to work. He has too many Vikings. You go for air superiority and a tank drop, and you might find an angle to get damage done. Honestly, I don't know how he came to that decision. I don't know why he thought, like, this is what I need to do. But he did it damn well. So that was really well done. Now, the worker count. Abbaddon still maintains the lead. We're going to look at the upgrades. We still see an upgrade. Is there actually... the tanks are coming up again, and he's still got Vikings as well. He keeps abusing this, and the tech labs are back in exactly the same spot they were before. Combat shields has finished, so he's finished up one of his upgrades. There's an attack on the other side. There's no combat shields on these Marines, but stim is done. He's immediately stimming in. He sees, oh, the third base. There are no tanks there as well. Semper pulling apart from 2 different angles. He's going to come right up to the third base. All the SCVs are going to go down. He's slicing in the mineral line, and that orbital command is going to be chewed away, and there is no way that Abbaddon is going to get back up there to save it. It's going to be GG, and Semper with the quick 1-2 punch, following up that left hook with the drop. And he pulls it from what I would say was a bit of a deficit, at least. It wasn't a huge one, but he was behind. He lost all that early momentum. He didn't really have anything going for him, so he gambled. He rolled the dice. He went for the Vikings. He went for the drop. He went for the tanks. And it paid off, because Abbaddon was not prepared for the, I guess, strength of that attack. Specifically that attack. And I'm supposed to be making the map, so let me do that. I just realized that. I expected someone to make... It's my job. So, Semper. Gonna be taking game number 1. Now, I don't want to spoil you guys by paying off the bets here in a moment. I need someone else to do it. But honestly, like, I guess... I don't know if, like, Semper was actively thinking about it or if he was just saying, okay, what could I do to maybe get the damage done? But that was a beautiful choice, especially on that map. He got a little bit lucky. He was able to pick off the correct tech lab, the one with stim. Abbaddon did not have stim. That's a pretty important upgrade. So... All right. But yeah, Abbaddon didn't play bad. It's just Semper. Honestly, I'm not even going to say like Semper overall played better, but he definitely had a large edge in that attack. And he made the right decision. So, I'm going to do these bets. Open it for 2 minutes, so that way at least there's not too much going on. Alright. And we're ready to go. Here, game number 2, Semper versus Abbaddon. Dust Towers to see who's going to go to the semifinals. This is the quarterfinals of the TAW Open. Use that TAW command for more information about the art of warfare. But Abbaddon played a great early game, but Semper beat him to the punch later on, for sure. So, all right. We have in the bottom left, it's going to be from Team Gravity. We have Abbaddon in the blue once again. This time switching it up. No idea. But at the top of the map, it's going to be Semper with that beautiful decision making. Okay. So far we see more defensive builds, just based on the fact they didn't go for the gas first. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be defensive. On this map, almost always yes, but that could still mean they add on 2-3 more barracks, go for Reapers, something like that. But it is usually more of an indication they're going to play more towards expanding early instead of being really aggressive early like Semper was. As we see both of them going for the racks first. Now, of course, Abbaddon's going to mix it up a little. He's going to go for a second racks in the main. And now this is a bit of a cheeky move. This is something that can definitely take your opponent off guard. He's going to have a wall. There's no way to scout this early. And is Abbaddon actually going to opt for the supply depot? Looks like he's going to go take it. After the second gas, that's something to point out. But he's going to have the depot ready. If the SCV gets in, that's a big deal. If Abbaddon... Oh, no. Oh, no, Abbaddon. That's a mistake. Now, Semper has not seen the second racks yet. He's about to.
Upgrade
He's going to see everything. And that is what we like to call... I can't imagine that was intentional. That was not intentional. He did not do that on purpose. You don't just want to let the opponent's SCV into your base. So, that's not good for Abbaddon so far. He has the information, so I would love to see Abbaddon just... I mean, he's getting his factory. Or is he? No, that's Semper. He's getting his factory. I figured it out, how to read a production tab, guys. I've been doing this 6 years. I finally figured it out. But he's taking an expansion. Now, Semper, he's taking every precaution. He's getting the bunkers on the top of the ramp. There's actually no wall, but if losing... Oh, the nade in the face. But losing this first Reaper for Abbaddon would be much more important than when Semper lost his first Reaper in the last game. He's relying entirely on this Reaper count to do any damage. And he's not really going to do any damage, but the threat is there. If he's a little bit out of position, maybe he jumps in, he can easily kill 4, 5, 6 SCVs before there can be too much of a reaction. We'll have to see if Abbaddon decides to commit. It looks like he's just going to be following up with the Tech Lab, immediately getting stim. He's not going to be slow on stim this game. He's still got Threepers, and those could still get in and do damage. The threat is there if Semper's out of position for a second, but... so far, it looks like Abaddon's not going to get too much done. Oh, getting a little bit greedy. Coming up that ramp into the Hellion, which will make the difference and allow a Reaper to be picked off. He does some damage. There's a scan on the other side, and Semper will get all the information. And he even sees the SCVs going down to the second base. He knows it's there. He sees this amount of buildings in the main. He sees the Tech Lab upgrading. He knows there's another base. But even getting that little bit of extra assurance with the way the SCVs were moving. Alright. There's a tank on the way so far, out of Abbaddon. I'm not sure if he actually wants to be aggressive here. I doubt it. We see Semper. He already has his starport finished up. Will we see a Viking first out of Abbaddon? This Liberator could actually get a decent chunk of damage on. No, it's going to be... Oh. So this Reaper got in. Oh, he has white colors, I just realized. This Reaper got in. It saw the second barracks, which will be the one that upgrades stim for Semper. And it saw the starport as well as the Tech Lab factory. So he got the information. If there was a third command center, it would have probably been right here. So he's reasonably sure that there's not a third CC at the moment, but he can't be 100%. So here comes the Liberator, which, what is there to defend? Now this is going to be a bit of an awkward exchange here, as both players see the other's air units. And I think this is much more dangerous for Abbaddon, as the Liberator not so easily countered as a medevac, especially when you already have a siege tank. Now stim is already done for Abbaddon. That is not something I pointed out necessarily. Ooh, that's tough. Sometimes the SCVs just want to get themselves killed, you know? It's one of those days. But if he actually has stim... Nah, there's 2 tanks now. I don't really see this doing any damage. He's going to get a few Marines. The question... I mean, a few SCVs. The question is, does he even get out alive? It looks like it's going to be a yes. He's denied money on this side. Oh, no. Oh. Alright. I thought the Liberation Zone extended like 1 hex further. There's a Reaper coming in on this side, and now he's actually going to try to get away. Both players not really paying attention to what was happening with this Liberator over here. But that Viking, I think, is about to finish the job. And there you go. Slapped out of the sky. Now, another drop in the back. He's doing damage so far. And Abbaddon getting some counter damage, so despite the fact his opener was shut down, he took a little bit of damage from the Reaper. We've seen 6 versus 5 worker kills. He actually has the worker lead. It looks like Semper got a little bit supply blocked in there. He wasn't consistently producing SCVs, and now he does have the third command center on the way. I think Abbaddon is saving up for it right now. We should see it in just a moment. He knows this is the time for a third CC. There it is. But tank's coming up once again. Abbaddon doing everything he can. There's nothing to really shut this down. There's no stim yet. The Marines actually have combat shield out of Abbaddon, so having those early upgrades has allowed him to find a little bit of an angle to do damage. And so far, I don't think he's ahead. Let's look at the upgrades. Yeah, he's gonna have the +1, but Semper's following up with the double engineering bay. He knows he's a little bit late on going towards these. He's been a little bit distracted, it seemed, this game. But I'm gonna say we're just about even. We're just about even. I think Semper has a little bit of the edge just in standing army and in production right now. But as time goes on, Abaddon's adding on 3 more racks. He's going to have the +1. He can get the if he gets the armory in a timely manner, he'll have the upgrade advantage. So right now, I'd say Abbaddon. I like Abaddon's position a little bit more, just because he has so many units he could push out onto the map with. Whereas Semper, he has a lot of units, but if he goes out onto the map, he runs the risk of getting dropped. And Marines without combat shield have a tough time in a straight-up fight. Of course, he's going to have it in a minute or two. But you see, he's kind of scared of a direct attack. And that's why he's taking his time on taking this third base. So the third bases will be about even in time. Abbaddon biting off a few Marines over here. And it looks like we might see a medevac sniped off. Nope. Abbaddon really quick on those. And he's going towards the back, but there's a tank to greet him. And nope. Is he actually going to try that corner? Yeah. Getting any angle he can, but if he loses the medevac, that could really come back to bite him, rather. Okay, so we have no armory and no +1 armor on the way for Abbaddon. Now we're playing the war of attrition. It's not about the supplies necessarily. It's about the upgrades, it's about the unit composition, and it's about the unit position. Being in front, like on a high ground or having air control is worth 10-20 supply right now. It's intangible. It's worth 10-20 supply. Of course, Semper's a little bit supply bots. He's pushing out. He's going to have the 1-1 finishing, so not a terrible timing. The tank count is 7-6, just about even. We got 6-6 on another drop. He's still trying. I think that's that first medevac. He's barely taking any damage on it. But yeah, we got armories on either side. But, whoa! Pretty big drop in the main, getting on top of the tank. And he killed one worker. So this was a lot more dramatic. It looks like the Viking was able to pick off most of that medevac. Now, neither player willing to commit their army onto the map. Because in tank versus tank drop, I mean TVT, but we all know it's tank versus tank drop. It is very risky to just commit your army when you don't know you have a solid advantage. With the scan out, Semper actually going to be able to move forward. Will he lose a couple medevacs? Yes. Going to bite off one. Get a few more Marine on the other side. Abbaddon having a little bit of miscontrol there, and that means Semper is going to get a few units for free. The armories have finished on either side. We're going to have to look at those 2-2 upgrade timings. Looks like the second factory is completing now for Semper. He actually doesn't have that many racks. Okay, he's at 5 racks. What are we looking at? 5v6? 5v... I can't see because everything's covered up. Oh, it's 5v5. All right. I thought Abbaddon had a couple more for some reason. Why is this still here? All right, that Viking says no. And the sensor towers begin to go up, and we got a game on our hands. We got a game on our hands. Because right now, there is anything could happen. There is no clear advantage to either player. The advantage will happen within the span of 2 seconds when these tanks are dropped. Whoever drops their tanks in a better spot at the right time will win the engagement and then get way ahead. Ooh, they both see each other. Neither scanned for this. And now we see the scans. And everybody dropping down, realizing how close they got to mutually assured destruction there. And the tanks will be picked up. Abbaddon at a slight supply lead. The upgrades are even. Semper has his 2-2 on the way, +2 on the way at the moment. Out of Abbaddon, I believe he should be starting that +2 armor soon. And now we begin to dance. The beautiful dancing of death. Something. Oh, he did finish the second factory. I was not paying attention there. Semper's finishing up a 4th base. Abbaddon is actually sharking around here. He's going to cut off this army. Another double tank drop coming around. Oh, is it going to happen? It's about to happen, guys. It looks like we've got a base trade on our hands. There are so many tanks on the other side. Will Semper react in time? He's going back for his tanks. He needs to get them as quickly as possible. There are tanks sieging up at the top of the ramp, but Abbaddon's going to dunk right in his face. Semper, are you going to go forward or are you going to go back? You must make a decision. He's going to go back, but Abbaddon is already tearing through absolutely everything. The factory is under fire. There are no siege tanks on the high ground. There's no Marines on the low, and Abbaddon is at 195. He's made the moves this game. Semper did the last game, but Abbaddon is in the commanding position outside of the 3rd base, and I don't think there's any way that Semper can break this in a way that's ever going to let him back into this game. The tanks are sieged up in between the 2 armies. There's an army on the high ground. The command center died on the low, and he needs to go now, or he needs to go never. The STVs need to come off the line. He's going to try to get the tanks in the position, but it's too little, and it seems like it's going to be too late. He's actually spinning the Marines forward to eat that tank damage. He's losing a lot for that, but so many tanks are going to go down. He's trying to get on top, but Semper has had a breakdown, and it looks like Team Abbaddon is going to be fighting through another day as he crushes Semper's army. He moves around the side, goes for the throat, and Semper did not react, and Abbaddon, in the same way Semper did in the previous game, a decisive strike with the tanks a little bit later on will win him that match. So, pretty incredible game right there. It's TVT, 5 seconds, and then the game's over almost. Like, Semper had about 5 seconds to decide, I'm going to go for the base trade. Before, Abbaddon had already done too much damage, and it's almost impossible to recover. So, The next map. What? Alright, it's going to be Frost, which could get even weirder. But yeah, we're going to game 3. And I'm very happy about that. All right. We're going into game number 3 of this best of 3. Here on Frost. And Abbaddon, with only 17% of the bets, we're going to pay out for this game. I'm going to set up the bets for the next game. Alright, let's introduce our players. With this best match of the day so far, for sure. No question. We have in the top left-hand corner, it's going to be from Team Gravity, Abbaddon. His opponent in the bottom left. So some very interesting positions to start. We're going to talk about that in a second. We have Semper from Team Root. He doesn't have his tag. I'm surprised at, but from Team Root. And this game will determine who moves on to the semifinals to face the winner of our next match. I believe Cyber Kitty versus Cuddle Bear. So we got Kitty versus Bear in the next match. I'm sure you guys will look forward to that. But I gotta say, like, anything can happen. Once you get to that point in the game, I said it, you've seen it before, it doesn't matter exactly what units you have or exactly what upgrades you have. It's just so important where they go. And Abbaddon took a big risk. If Semper had scouted him doing what he was doing, like right as he was about halfway across the map, Semper could either have base traded himself or come back and crush the army. So it was a risk. But Abbaddon took that risk, and he got dividends for it, pretty much. As Semper just did not know how to read. He was not it was so obvious. It was deer in the headlights type of situation of how was that there? Why are there tanks at my third base? And so now we're getting into this game. We are in vertical positions, so pretty easy to get some early harass via Liberator or drops, but you can definitely set up a sensor tower or two and defend earlier on. Neither player has a decisive advantage. It's kind of like a mirror just on this half of the map, but it looks like Abbaddon this time around. Abbaddon this time around is going to be opting for the starport on top of that factory as well as the Rex. I mean, obviously, I'm like not even. I'm still thinking about that last game. The games happened so fast. We need some more downtime. We need to put on some K-pop commercials so I can think about that last game, and then we can get back into it. But no, the SCV actually going to get a pretty lucky scout, actually getting by the Reaper to scout the command center on the way. So this gives Abbaddon all the information he really needs. And the Reaper got in. I don't know how that happened. Oh, well, I mean, I know how that happened, but Semper doing a good job to get the Reaper in around the back and confirming that Abbaddon, no tech labs here. He's got the reactor on the way. No add-ons on the starport. He's actually opting for a medevac. Semper has to kind of make a judgment call of whether it's a medevac or it's going to be a Liberator. I think it's very unlikely it's going to be a Viking. He doesn't have tanks to work with. He doesn't need to defend anti-air. Semper knows it's going to be a Liberator or a medevac. So we'll have to see if he makes a solid enough defense. Now, No, Abbaddon. Abbaddon. No, don't pull the boys. Oh, he messed up a little. He messed up a little. But we see the command center on the way behind, so he's not looking to do game-ending damage. He's going to use the position on the map. The Widowmine drop is a great choice, because there's not going to be any easy way to trigger that right now. I mean, you could just try to get one SCV over there. Looks like he will. Will Abbaddon, yep. Unburrows, reburrows, scans, and meticulously handled is the way I'm going to put it. From Semper there. So Abbaddon, coming off that great win, gotta calm down a little bit. You gotta chill out. I mean, he didn't make any real mistakes there, but he pulled all his SCVs off the line. A little bit late on the CC, but nothing that's putting him in a severe disadvantage. He's a bit behind on economy. We're looking at 32 versus 27 workers. That is not a small hill to climb. Now, will Semper go for a third CC? He knows this is not a kind of build that really easily transitions into a big attack. He was going for the medevac first, which means once you get a Viking, you have air control. There's not going to be any tanks or even any cyclones. So there's no real way to press forward against a bunker or a tank. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a third CC out of Semper here. We'll have to see what his decision is. He's adding on 2 gases. This is very interesting. He's already got 2 gases at the net. He's got a reactor on his starport. It looks like we might see something not really like we saw in game number 1 on Ruins of Endian, but he's going to go for air control. But how is he going to follow that up? Will we see a tech lab? I mean, will he research Stim? That's my question. This is the real story here, is what this tech lab does. Because he could just be holding it, maybe he makes a starport on it. He has so much gas, like... Yeah, he's researching Stim, so he intends to go bio, but he's just going for air control early on. So, no third base early. Semper just locking down his position, adding on extra Rex. He's not taking any chances right now. Okay. This Hellion up here to prevent any really long swing-around drops. A big drop on this side, though. I wasn't actually paying attention on the minimap in what is here to defend. Semper's completely defended in the main, but Abbaddon finds himself in a nice spot. The thing is, these Vikings will make sure this drop will be here, and it will be here until it dies. Or wins the game. You take your choice. But Abbaddon finding a decisive timing. All the Vikings were in the main. He was not expecting this at all. There's a single medevac. There's going to be air control, so that means eventually the tanks can work through this. But Semper has lost 7 SCVs. He's losing the bunker. He's losing a decent chunk. The Marines are tanking the damage from the tanks. It's not a very precise way to say that, but... And we're going to see him try to minimize losses. He's targeting down SCVs, of which he's killed a large number. But a lot of the Vikings will survive. And most of the tanks, it looks like only 1 tank fell here. So let's look at the aftermath. 40 to 31 SCVs. Abbaddon is starting his stim. I would expect combat shield soon. He needs to hold. Semper wants to do damage. He has 4 Vikings. He has 3 tanks, and he has just complete air superiority. Right now, Abbaddon has a tank and a Viking, and then a handful of Marines. Okay, he has 3 tanks. Never mind. 3 tanks is a lot more than 1 tank. So I don't really think Semper can do counter damage, unless he's going to do something almost exactly like Abbaddon just did. Tanks are coming up. He has air control. He can't stop this. There goes 1 tank. He's not going to be able to unseat the guy. He was trying to. And that SCV getting a very, very up-close and personal scout. That Viking in full retreat. And it looks like he's going to be going for the double tank drop at the net. We're going to see a little bit of counter damage out of him here. These SCVs need to back off. Get out of there. What are you doing? No, we're just going to make some supply depots. Don't worry. Are you getting hazard pay? Uh-oh. Oh, God. At the same time, Abbaddon is trying to drop on this side. He does not have Stim. There's a lot of units coming down. The Vikings have hit the deck. So both sides taking big damage, but there's a tank, and Abbaddon is just not handling this very well. Another tank goes down. STD is not a great counter to siege tank. And more's coming up. He drops the mules, but... oh, God. There go the Marines. Abbaddon having a real tough time of dealing with the supplies really reflect that. He's not going to really be able to pick off any of this, so Abbaddon took a big risk early. I would say it paid off, but Semper going to be in a position to do almost critical counter damage. It is now 34 to 41 SCVs. The tables have been turned. Several tanks have fallen throughout that. A lot of medevacs. There's still 2 tanks in the main, so it's not... Stim's almost done, but Stim is already done for Semper. And no, this is not where your units want to be at all. This is not good. Semper in a great spot. We're going to get a full scan, and that's a lot of army bearing down on the base of Abbaddon right now. I am hard-pressed to find a way for Abbaddon to hold this. He has his combat shields. He has his stim. The upgrades are in favor of Semper. He has the 1-1. No combat shields. It's just now going to finish before any fight really starts. Oh, big chunk of those Marines getting blasted by the tanks. And he has the medevacs. He has air control. Semper finally going for that 3rd command center. It's been a slugfest so far, but it looks like Semper has held up a little bit better through all these rounds. Okay, he wants to pounce on these. He wants to try to just get his Marines in position before the tanks are able to drop out a single Viking for air control. This is Abbaddon's saving grace. This is his only real hope here, is that he can use this Viking and somehow break out. There's the scan by Semper to see if those tanks are moving forward, but the supply is 103 to 126. It's not over yet, but Semper has a grip on this game, and Abbaddon's going to be hard-pressed to loosen it, especially with another swing coming in from the top side. The drop in the main base. A few more tank shots going to be okay here. The reactor on the starport going to be taken out, and that is a critical component of this production. All of the medevacs coming up to defend, almost all of the medevacs, but Semper has not joined up with his reinforcements. Abbaddon needs to crush this now. He needs to crush this ASAP, because if he cannot do that, then Semper is going to bring his reinforcements, and Semper is going to just be unbreakable. There are just too many tanks. And it's time. I believe it's about to go down. Semper, his medevacs are in a great spot. There's actually not that many reinforcements. Abbaddon is picking up and going for it. Semper is about to realize what is happening. There are tanks sieged up in the net. There's a single... Oh, God. Oh, God. Where are you going? This is... Indecision 2016, boys. As the orbital command is going to go down, he's going for the base trade, but he's losing his base, and it looks like Semper has 3 of his own. According to my math, it's almost 3 times as many, and that is going to be all she wrote. Abbaddon not quite able to get the damage he wanted in this game. Semper holding on strongly against all the early aggression. And it's going to be Semper, who through a pretty legitimate series is going to go through 2-1 to face the winner of our next match, Cyber Kitty versus Cuddle Bear. But congratulations to Semper. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the cast. Shout out once again to TAW.